Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 874. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Today, it's the return of the much-loved segment, the MIKELOPEDIA Insanica, where we look at how messed up our water situation is in California and what we're doing to mess it up even more. Plus, we'll hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I will also sing to you right now about something that happened to me recently.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So as you know, last week I was on a trip where I got to see my mama, and in Florida where it's hip to walk around in bathing suits. That's something that I missed, but when I came back here, I saw something was amiss. The people I work with on the weekend totally messed up while I was away.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No one yelled at me for this, which a lot this has to say.
Mike's
Because I'm a bit more
Daily
than just part of the team.
Podcast.
I guess I'm the one that's covering their butts.
Yeah.
The weekend team. But there's no I in team. You can get the word meat out of team. And that's where some people, they need to put more skin in the game. Look who just walked in. Hello, Madame Matthews. This is Madame Rootabega, and I get it skin und meat. That's gross. It was just a point I was trying to make. It was a superfluous point. Yes, Michael Matthews. I don't believe in being part of a team. I believe totally in the I concept of team. I am always alone. I have traveled the world for centuries and centuries. That's right, you are. You're a strange enigma, Madame Rootabega. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the back here.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we have no idea what enigma it means today.
Hey, don't you remember, Valentino? It was in that movie, The Invitations, the game. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah. That was that big computer they were trying to fight with lasers and stuff there. Benedict Cumberbatch.
You guys, I think you saw a different movie than what I saw.
What do you mean? That was a pretty awesome movie. Whatever the movie was you saw, it probably was not as good as the one we saw there.
Yeah, it probably sucked. Do you know that? Uh-huh, I guess so.
Mike, what we're trying to say is we love bathing suits too there.
Yeah, everyone should be in a bathing suit all the time. Do you know that? Well, some people like me, you don't want to see in a bathing suit. But you kind of got to be in one all the time when you're in a tropical sort of climate like the wonderful Florida. But what I would like to say is somehow everybody looks great down there. No matter their age, even though there's all this fried food everywhere, people must just sweat it out or something. They're just keeping in good shape there in Daytona Beach where I was. Oh, and there's a picture from that trip. We'll get to a little bit later in the podcast picture with my mom's RAV4. But I'm just so flummoxed by the whole thing of my part-time job. How people, I work with two other guys. That's how small our team is. It's 3 people. And I don't know how difficult it was for them not to keep very simple things done. I don't know, one less person made it more difficult for them. I guess I am indispensable. I don't know. No, Michael Matthews, you are dispensable. You've heard that Beyonce song, haven't you? Oh, yeah, irreplaceable. To the left, to the left. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed my vocal prowess. And yeah, the Billboard Awards last night. It was all about Taylor Swift. It was like we had gone to Taylor Swift's birthday party. Did it feel like that to you if you watched it? And she was there hey everybody's my friends. Oh, thanks for coming. Yeah, have some cake. Oh, so good of you to stop by. Yeah, Molly Ringwald, come over here and sit by me. Oh, that's awesome. You're so cool and old, but you're so not old. You're so young. Oh, Simple Minds. I remember hearing my mom play them on the radio. That's the guy that sang with them, huh? He's old now. It's Jim Kerr, and he's awesome. Don't frickin' ever talk down about Jim Kerr. He's a god. A Scottish god. Love Simple Minds. Anyway, what do you think about Simple Minds or the Billboard Music Awards or bathing suits or people that drop the ball when you're away on vacation, making you realize what an integral part of the team you are? And how much do you love that Beyonce song, Irreplaceable, to the left? So email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. I think I got the email wrong last show, so that's what it is. mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email and your common, not so comments. You can comment on my Twitter @Mike Talks, also on Facebook, facebook.com/Mike's. Wait a minute, how do they do it on Facebook? Facebook.com, /Mike's Daily Podcast, right? They do the slash thing after the, whatever. You know where to find me. There's also mikesdailypodcast.com, which has links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Subscribe to us there. You can comment on the show there. If you do that, more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity. Another great way to help out the show is through going to Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through mikesdailypodcast.com first and click on the Amazon link. That way, we get a little bit of support from that, and it doesn't change the way you shop. There's also links to where to find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and Ameristream Live. I am on the radio doing my morning show, the Mike Matthews Morning Show, on a Connecticut radio station called Wolverine Radio, and there's a link to where to find that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also, I am spinning the country music, playing that weekends. You can hear that, and a link to that on Country Crossroads Radio, the link to that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Tell your friends about this show through Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr. Links to all of those at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh, and the blog and the daily podcast picture and all my past interviews are at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Oh, my God.
Email for email and your calm and not so calm mess.
I did get a comment through my Google Plus page, yes. Google Plus still exists. Ha ha ha, Google Plus jokes. Nobody ever goes to it. But I did get one. I did get a comment. You can find my Google Plus through mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. But the comment was this: if I fall behind on my loan from my 401k, can I send a bunch of Mafia Guido types back in time to break my own legs? I think that's a reference to you, Valentino and Bison Bentley.
What's a Guido? I don't understand that. We're not part of the mafia.
No, we're part of the 3-6 Mafia, now known as the Mafia 6. Do you know that? I don't even know what that is, actually, so I don't know that. Oh, okay. But anyway, Cafe anyway. This guy goes on to say hello to your mom. Isn't that nice? He probably meant that in the rap way, word to your mother, right, Valentino?
What? Yeah. Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. Okay, enough of that. We out of here.
The MIKELOPEDIA Insanica.
I'm looking down this road, my heart is getting weaker, and down on my sore knees, I'm waiting for some water.
Water. That's our topic today from the MIKELOPEDIA Insanica, and that is the band Hothouse Flowers, one of my favorites of all time. Under new regulations manatee dated, you can tell I'm still thinking about Florida, mandated by Governor Jerry Brown, East Bay Mud, which serves customers from Richmond to us here in Podcastro Valley, they must slash water usage by at least 20% this year because of the drought. Traditionally, water agencies have sought to severely penalize water guzzlers, which I must do right now. Guzzle some water. During drought conditions. Gosh, I hate this thing. I'm still got the swimmer's ear thing going on. It's messing with my sinuses and blah, blah, blah. You've heard me talk about this ad infinitum. However, a legal case now pending before a state appellate court could restrict the use of steep rates for water in California. Yay! In addition, there is evidence that rate hikes don't always lead to water cutbacks, particularly when the water wasters are wealthy and can easily afford to pay higher prices. This, according to East Bay Express. You can find them on the internet at eastbayexpress.com. So, how can East Bay Mud convince water wasters to slash their usage at a time when California's water supply is plummeting to historic low levels? Over the past year, the agency has been working with a San Francisco-based water consultant called WaterSmart in an effort to change people's behavior. Currently, state law prohibits water agencies from publicly disclosing a customer's water use. The law was enacted in the 1990s after water wasters were exposed in news media reports during a previous drought and had been publicly shamed. As a result, today, there is no way for the public to know who is actually wasting water and who isn't, beyond seeing how green someone's lawn looks. However, East Bay Mud and other water agencies can share individual water usage information with private water consultants, such as WaterSmart. In turn, WaterSmart takes the information and employs data techniques and social science research on human behavior to craft letter writing campaigns designed to get people to stop wasting water. During the past several months, residents in some parts of the East Bay have been receiving letters from WaterSmart, letting them know how much water they use compared to other people in their neighborhoods. I haven't got one of these, have I? No, I guess I haven't. So far, the letters have gone to the biggest guzzlers. Oh, well, there you go. Which I have to guzzle some more. I guess I am a big guzzler. Quote, what we have found is that people don't often realize that they're wasting water until they receive the letters, said Jeff Lifton, director of the marketing for WaterSmart. Over the years, researchers have found that this desire to conform can serve as a more powerful incentive for behavioral change than educational campaigns or even higher prices, depending on the target audience. In addition, people are more likely to change their behavior if they identify closely with people who are acting differently. For example, a 2008 study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that guests in a hotel were more likely to reuse their bath towels when they were told that most people who had stayed in their same room had reused their towels too. With this sort of research in mind, WaterSmart doesn't just compare one random East Bay home to another or even neighbor to neighbor. After all, you might not change your water use if your yard is much larger than your neighbor's and he or she uses less water. Instead, WaterSmart analyzes property records, local microclimates, which we have a lot of here in the Bay Area, and the size of homes, a 2-bedroom versus a 4-bedroom, for example, before coming up with comparable groups of consumers. That way, customers can know with a fair amount of certainty that their water use is compared to families and homes similar to theirs. During the past 6 months, East Bay Mud customers who have received the WaterSmart letters have slashed usage by about 5% more than the average cutbacks in the East Bay during that time. The program also alerts customers when they're using more water than normal, perhaps because of an undiscovered leak. That's very helpful. We're planning on expanding the program to roll it out to more neighborhoods in our service areas, say East Bay Mud board members Andy Katz. He represents Berkeley and North Oakland. East Bay Mud also is planning to enact drought surcharges on water guzzlers. Aren't you glad you don't live in California? Or if you do live in California, aren't you glad that you don't waste water, hopefully? They are hoping that its slew of programs, including WaterSmart, along with rebates for installing water-saving devices and for replacing lawns with drought-resistant gardens, will allow the agency to meet its 20% reduction mandate. However, one tool that the East Bay Mud may not have at its disposal is the ability to establish a higher tier for water rates. That's because a Southern California appellate court is currently reviewing a lawsuit filed against tiered water pricing, paying higher rates for the more water that you use, and that is from a taxpayers group in San Juan Capistrano. Drip, drip, drip. That would be Chumbawamba from their album Tub Thumper. because I love that album, and I don't care who knows it. Everybody puts down Chumbawamba because they're like, ooh, that Tub Thumper song was so stupid. It was so, like, it was here today and gone tomorrow. One-hit wonder. Okay, yeah, it was kind of a one-hit wonder. But it was a great album. I loved it. Very interesting, bizarre lyrics. During California's last crippling drought, baseball slugger Mark McGwire became a poster boy for water wasters. The burly first baseman figured prominently in a 1991 Oakland Tribune investigation that showed how residents of upscale neighborhoods skirted the conservation demands facing everyday homeowners. The top 100 users in the East Bay, where Podcastro Valley is, used 15 times more than the typical household. That included the Oakland A's star, who pumped 3,752 gallons a day in the summer months at his home in Alamo. There's no way I would waste water, he told the newspaper. In response to the outcry that followed the story, the East Bay Municipal Utility District demanded that its top users cut water by 20%. If customers refused, the district would limit them to about 1,200 gallons a day. This according to MotherJones.com. Today, nearly 25 years later, while McGuire's had to deal with more high-profile denials, California again is in the clutches of a massive drought, and the very information that has the potential to drive smart policy makers is now off limits to the public and journalists, as we were mentioning in the last story. Even though water agencies have precise data about every customer's water usage, they no longer have an obligation to share this information with the public. Back in 1991, during California's last drought, East Bay Mud imposed what it said were tough water conservation rules on its customers, but the district refused to reveal how much its biggest residential customers were using. The Oakland Tribune sued under the Public Records Act and got the list. It showed that one Orinda investment banker was gushing 16,405 gallons per day. A pipe was leaking into a creek, while most people in the area were using an average of 325 gallons per day. One Blackhawk owner, Blackhawk being one of the very upscale developments in the East Bay, who used 10,870 gallons a day, mostly to water a 3-acre lawn, and it's like hotter in that particular part of the bay. He told the paper, frankly, I don't think that the East Bay Mud people care as long as we pay. The story of profligate water use in the suburbs outraged many customers who had been taking the district's calls for conservation seriously. After that story ran, the district toughened its conservation rules. The information in the water bills was needed to make an important public policy decision. It's not just about public shaming, said Eric Newton, the then Oakland Tribune's managing editor, and today an official with the Knight Foundation, which funds journalism and civic media projects. Now, this article was originally run by Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. And this time around, they asked the East Bay Mud for the names of the top 100 residential water customers today. Even though the public records law was weakened in 1997, the district can give, it says, the information if it determines the public interest in disclosure of the information clearly outweighs the public interest in non-disclosure. But the district is refusing to release the information, quote, for numerous reasons, including the privacy interests of our customers. EBMUD protocol prohibits the disclosure of individually identifiable consumption data of its customers. So for now, the district's 1.3 million customers in Alameda and Contra Costa counties that East Bay Mud covers, who all are being asked to use less water, don't really know how much their thirstiest neighbors are using, much less who they are. Drip, drip, drip.
Throw me out. Put me up. Let me down.
As we go outside of Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, where I'm trying to barely use any water except for all the water I'm drinking because my sinuses are destroying my throat. And thank you, swimmer's ear that I got from Daytona Beach.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Which I heard from my mom's boyfriend, who is also named Mike, that there has been drought in Florida before. And droughts where he lived there in Daytona Beach, he had to, he couldn't water his lawn. He had certain restrictions placed on him as well. And probably this same scenario of those two stories I read plays out all over the world, where people are like, hey, he's using more water than I am, and that sort of thing. When I lived in Huntsville, Alabama, the year I moved there in 2007, they were experiencing a drought. And I'm like, oh, great. I must have brought this over from California. I'm jinxed. But no one's really jinxed. That's just a superstitious thought. Stop thinking like that. That's your stinking thinking. But you can see a picture from Florida, from Daytona Beach. Actually, Ponce Inlet is what it is called. It is where the strip of Daytona Beach meets the Halifax River, which is coming in along, kind of cuts parts of Daytona Beach into a peninsula, and then bam, you can't go any further. There's no bridge where it ends to take you to New Smyrna. So they call that Ponce Inlet. It's a beautiful spot, a beach there, and you can drive on it. And my mom had never driven on the beach before, even though she's lived in Daytona Beach for 12 years. So she and I went out there, and you can kind of see her arm taking something out of the cooler. We packed the cooler, we packed the zebra print towels, and went to the beach in her RAV4. It was fun. See that picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Michael Matthew, I wish I could have been with you. As long as I didn't have to be part of a team. Because team does not exist to me, the word. It doesn't exist. I exists. I know that word, but not the word team. You realize no company is ever going to hire you. Oh, that's very good to know, because I put that entire statement that I just said on my resume. Probably not the best idea. Next show, it is the return of the much-loved feature called Into an Interview, where I will be speaking with the Canadian singer-songwriter Billy Grima. Plus, we hear from Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer, my announcer voice. Sorry, I go into that sometimes. More water.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!